Michael was 40 years old and led a life that, while simple, was full of joy and meaning. He was married to Amanda, 38, his soulmate and partner in every moment. Amanda was more than just a wife. She was his confidant, his safe harbor. Together they were a team, supporting each other through every challenge and celebrating life's little victories. Their relationship was built on respect, affection, and a mutual admiration that was evident in the smallest gestures. A loving glance during dinner, a spontaneous hug at the end of a long day. Emily, the couple's 12-year-old daughter, was the heartbeat of their home. A girl full of energy and imagination, she turned every ordinary moment into a special memory. She loved sitting with her parents in the cozy living room, making up stories about the future. "One day I'll be a famous doctor and you'll travel the world," she'd say, her eyes sparkling with excitement. Michael and Amanda would laugh and encourage her, dreaming together of a future full of possibilities. Though they lived in a modest house, their home overflowed with love. Evenings were filled with laughter during Emily's games, simple dinners always accompanied by shared stories, and mornings began with affectionate kisses and encouraging words. Michael had a clear principle. His family was his absolute priority, the center of everything. He felt that nothing could be more important than seeing Amanda and Emily happy. For him, life had purpose and meaning because it was lived alongside the two people he loved most in the world. But Michael's life, once so full of color and joy, changed drastically in an instant. Amanda, always so full of life, started experiencing strange pains that she insisted on ignoring. Michael sensed something was wrong, but no amount of concern could have prepared him for what came next. The diagnosis hit like a blow: aggressive and advanced cancer. The news shook the family like an earthquake. Amanda, in her usual strength, tried to stay optimistic, but within a few months, the illness consumed her. When Amanda passed, Michael felt as if a part of himself had been ripped away. The woman who was his companion, his strength, and his joy was no longer there. The house, once filled with laughter and animated conversations, now felt unbearably quiet. Emily, just 12 years old, cried in her father's arms, struggling to understand why her mother had been taken so soon. Michael knew he couldn't afford to get lost in grief. He was alone now. With no siblings or close relatives to help, the full responsibility of raising Emily fell on him. It was an overwhelming burden. Many nights after Emily fell asleep, he sat in the darkened living room, staring into the void, trying to imagine how to move forward without Amanda by his side. But amid the pain, Michael found a reason to keep going: Emily. He looked at his daughter and knew she needed him more than ever. Michael made an unwavering decision. He promised himself that even without Amanda, Emily would never lack love, care, or opportunities. "I can't replace your mom," he told Emily one night as he held her close. "But I'll do everything in my power to make sure you have everything you need. Always." That promise became Michael's new guiding light. He was still grieving, but now he had a greater purpose. It wouldn't be easy, but he would do the impossible to ensure Emily had a bright future, just as Amanda had always wanted. Michael embraced his promise like a beacon in the darkness, even if it meant sacrificing every part of himself. He woke up before sunrise, his body weary from sleepless nights, but his determination pushed him forward. In the mornings he worked as a waiter in a cafe, balancing trays with a smile that masked his exhaustion. Even during brief breaks, sipping cold coffee, his mind raced with thoughts of how to do more for Emily. In the afternoons he drove around the city, hauling heavy bags and delivering packages. The long hours of traffic and constant running around took a toll on his back, but he pressed on. When night fell, Michael changed into his factory uniform and worked on the assembly line, packing boxes in what felt like an endless process. The silence of the night was broken only by the sound of machines and Michael's thoughts about his daughter's future. Despite the hardships, he refused to let Emily feel the weight of his struggles. At home, while mending his worn-out shoes under the dim light of a lamp, he thought about how to make the most of their limited resources. Meals were simple, sometimes just soup and bread, but he served them as if they were feasts, decorating the table with flowers he found along the way or telling funny stories to make her laugh. Emily was the light of Michael's life, the reason he kept going even when his body begged for rest. When she walked through the door with a beaming smile or proudly showed him her school grades, Michael felt all his fatigue melt away, if only for a moment. No sacrifice seemed too great. He believed every moment of hardship, every deferred dream, and every drop of sweat would be worth it if it meant a better future for Emily. For Michael, his daughter's happiness was the meaning of his own existence. As the years passed, Emily began to notice something most kids her age wouldn't. Her father was special. Michael never spoke about his struggles, but the signs were there for anyone paying attention. Tired eyes, rough hands marked with small cuts and calluses, clothes he stubbornly patched up. Emily saw it all and understood in her own way that her father's love was the driving force that kept their home standing. Even so, Michael never let the weight show. He was a fortress, always ready to encourage her. "You can be anything you want, Emily. Don't let anyone tell you otherwise," he would say with conviction. Whenever she doubted herself at school, felt insecure about a presentation, or worried about a test, it was Michael who made her believe in herself. To Emily, her father wasn't just her hero. He was the reason she wanted to be better. One evening, after a long day at school, Emily sat down beside Michael at the small kitchen table. He was stitching one of his shoes, focused but with a calm smile on his face. "Dad," she began hesitantly, "I want to be a doctor." Michael stopped what he was doing and looked at her, his eyes shining with surprise and emotion. "A doctor?" he asked, his voice full of curiosity. Emily nodded, her words spilling out with passion. "I want to help people like Mom. I want to make sure no one else goes through what she did. I want to make a difference in the world." Michael's heart clenched and swelled with pride at the same time. He saw in Emily's eyes the same determined spark Amanda had. The thought of her achieving that dream made every sacrifice feel worthwhile. But he also knew this was only the beginning of an even greater challenge. He would have to work harder, save more, and give up even more to make that dream a reality. "You're going to be an amazing doctor, Emily," he said, holding her hands. "I believe in you. And I'll do everything I can to help you get there." That night, Michael stayed awake long after Emily had gone to bed, thinking about the future he wanted to build for her. He knew the road would be tough, but the vision of Emily achieving something so grand gave him the strength to keep going. Emily's dream had now become Michael's purpose, and he would do whatever it took to make it happen. As time went on, the weight on Michael's shoulders only grew heavier. Emily was getting older, and with that came new expenses. Books, school supplies, uniforms. The bills piled up on the small kitchen table, a constant reminder of their struggles. Michael faced it all with determination, but the physical and emotional toll began to show. His body, once strong, now bore signs of wear. Persistent back pain, an exhaustion that never went away, and the feeling of always being on the edge made each day a battle. Still, Michael did his best to hide this from Emily. When she was around, he wore a smile as if everything was fine. But Emily, more observant than he realized, began to notice the details. The deep circles under his eyes that wouldn't fade, his slower movements, the silent pauses where he seemed to wrestle with exhaustion. One evening, after returning from school, she found him sitting at the table, counting coins to pay a past-due bill. He looked so vulnerable that her heart broke. "Dad," she said softly, approaching him, "are you okay?" Michael tried to smile and hide the coins, but it was too late. Emily had already seen them. She pressed him, her eyes full of concern. "You're pushing yourself too hard. You can't keep doing this." For a moment, Michael was silent, the words stuck in his throat. Finally, he sighed, his eyes glistening. "Emily," he began, his voice trembling, "I do this because I want to give you everything you deserve. Don't worry about me. I'm fine." But the tears he tried to hold back told a different story. Emily hugged him tightly, feeling the pain he was trying to hide. Even after that conversation, Michael remained steadfast in his promise. He knew he was pushing himself beyond his limits, but giving up was never an option. The memory of Amanda and the promise he had made to her in her final days still echoed in his mind. He would keep fighting no matter the cost because Emily's future was his mission. In that moment, despite all the pain and the unbearable weight of their struggles, Michael reaffirmed his commitment. He knew the road ahead would be steep, but every step would be worth it if it meant seeing Emily achieve her dreams. For him, no sacrifice was too great when it came to his daughter. The day the acceptance letter arrived was unforgettable. With trembling hands, Emily opened the envelope and read the words that would change her life. She had been accepted into one of the most prestigious universities in the region. Her eyes filled with tears as she ran to share the news with her father. Michael, exhausted from another long day of work, felt his heart swell with joy when Emily showed him the letter. He hugged her tightly, letting out a smile so genuine it seemed to erase, if only for a moment, all the years of sacrifice and hardship. "You did it, my girl. I knew you could," he said, his voice brimming with pride. But as the initial excitement faded, a new worry crept in. How would he pay for tuition? The university was renowned but expensive, and his 3 jobs barely covered their daily expenses. He knew something had to be done. Without hesitation, Michael started running the numbers and searching for solutions. He made a decision that wasn't easy. He sold the car he used for deliveries. It was his main tool for work, but he knew Emily's future was worth more. Then he went to the bank and took out a loan, fully aware of the risks. Each choice carried a heavy burden, but for Michael, ensuring Emily had the chance to achieve her dreams was the only thing that mattered. When Emily learned about the sacrifices her father was making, her eyes filled with tears. She didn't know what to say, but deep in her heart, a flame of determination was lit. That night, as they sat together for dinner, she held Michael's hand and said with unwavering resolve, "Dad, I promise to give it my all. I'll work as hard as I can to honor everything you've done for me. One day I'll repay it all." Michael smiled, trying to hide the wave of emotion that swept over him. He knew the challenges weren't over, but in that moment he felt every effort was already worth it. Emily was closer to her dreams, and that was all that mattered to him. From that day on, their journey took on a new meaning. For Emily, every day at university was a testament to her gratitude for her father. For Michael, every sacrifice became a silent victory in his mission to secure a bright future for his daughter. The day of Emily's graduation arrived like a burst of joy in Michael's life. Sitting in the audience, he watched with tear-filled eyes as his daughter walked across the stage, dressed in her cap and gown, holding the diploma that symbolized years of sacrifice and hard work. Every tear, every sleepless night, every sacrifice had led to that moment. And in that instant he felt his promise to Amanda had been fulfilled. What Michael didn't know was that Emily had something special planned for him. Just days after the ceremony, she organized a surprise celebration to honor him. The party, held in a modest but love-filled venue, brought together people from every chapter of Michael's journey: childhood friends, former co-workers, and even employers who remembered his tireless effort. When Michael arrived, led by Emily, he was greeted with warm applause. He looked around, stunned and emotional, unsure why so many people were there. Emily, now a confident and accomplished young woman, stepped onto a small makeshift stage and began to speak. "Today, I want to honor the most important person in my life," she said, her voice trembling with emotion. "My dad. A man who sacrificed everything so I could be here, living my dream. Every day I spent at university, every patient I treated during my internships, I thought of him, of everything he endured to give me this chance." The room fell silent as Emily continued, highlighting Michael's sacrifices, from the long shifts to his patched-up clothes, the car he sold, and the nights he spent working while she slept. "Dad," she concluded, her eyes brimming with tears, "you didn't just give me the opportunity to follow my dream. You showed me what true love, resilience, and strength look like. And today I want to start giving that back to you." With that, Emily handed Michael a small envelope. Confused, he opened it and found a set of keys. "This is your new home," she said, smiling. "With my first paycheck, I bought a place where you can finally rest, where you'll never have to worry about bills or debt again. Now it's your turn to live in peace." Overwhelmed, Michael let the tears flow freely. He embraced Emily tightly, feeling the weight of all those years finally lift. "I always knew you would do amazing things," he said, his voice thick with emotion. "But I never imagined something like this. Thank you, my girl." That evening, as the guests celebrated around them, Michael and Emily shared a quiet moment together. Father and daughter, bonded by love and resilience, knew this was just the beginning of a new chapter. The sacrifices had been repaid, and their love was now the strength that would guide them into a hopeful future. With his heart at peace, Michael now lives a quieter, more comfortable life, surrounded by Emily's love and care, the same dedication he once gave her. On a calm afternoon, they sit together on the porch of their new home, watching the sunset and reflecting on the journey that brought them to this moment. Love, truth, and justice prevailed. Michael had given everything, but the return was far greater than he could have ever imagined. The bond between father and daughter, built on love and perseverance, stands as an inspiration to everyone around them.